Welcome back to Askewed Reviews, and we have another viewer request today, and it is for the 1992 film Waxwork II: Lost in Time. Here is your trivia question for today. What famous actress makes a small cameo in this film just because she was visiting the set that day? The answer will be at the end of this video. So our film starts exactly where the last one left off, with Mark and Sarah escaping the burning waxwork and climbing into a cab to go back home. It looks as though that experience really changed Sarah. Really changed her. This is how she looked in the last film. Once Sarah gets back home, she tries to go back to life as usual before the waxwork. Unfortunately, one of the wax hands managed to escape the fire and followed Sarah home. That hand then manages to kill her stepfather. Sarah does manage to fight it off, but in that fight, destroys the hand, which becomes a huge problem as now she is blamed for the death of her stepfather. And of course, at her court case, no one believes her story. That is, other than Mark, who is infuriated by this turn of events. Mark and Sarah then head over to Sir Wilfrid's in hopes of getting some sort of proof of everything that they had been through. With Sir Wilfrid being dead, they weren't sure what they would find, but strangely enough, Sir Wilfrid set up a projector for the two of them, notifying them that they could go into his secret room and maybe something in there could help them defeat the evil. Within the storage room, they did actually find an item that would help them. It's something that can actually travel to the different dimensions that the waxwork displays were connected to, and throughout time. Mark and Sarah begin jumping through different stories and different time periods, hoping to find something that they can bring back for proof. While time hopping, they eventually end up in a medieval era, and it's here that their journey might be ended by a nefarious individual named Scarabus. Will Mark and Sarah ever make it home, and will they actually find the proof to clear Sarah's name? Just like the first film, this movie was written and directed by Anthony Hickox. And also like the first film, he gave himself a cameo. This time around, he was the King's officer. Zach Galligan was willing to come back and play the character of Mark. Deborah Foreman, however, was not willing to come back and play Sarah, and this is mainly due to the fact that during the first film, she was dating director Anthony Hickox, but there was apparently a messy breakup after that, and she did not want to appear in this one. Monica Schnarr would then be brought in to play the character of Sarah. What's interesting though is all of the kids in the first film all came from very rich, ritzy families, but for some reason they changed her backstory in the second one, where Sarah was kind of poor and had this alcoholic stepfather. Also, we can't forget to talk about the two really great cameos they had in this movie, one with Bruce Campbell and the other one being David Carradine. The role of Frankenstein's monster was originally offered to Dolph Lundgren, but he turned it down. Buckley Norris appears in both films but as two different characters. In the first film, he played a lecturer, and in the second film, he was a judge. Now, did you by any chance catch all of the different stories, or at least the time jumps that they did throughout the film? Well, they had one that was based off of Frankenstein, one that was based off The Haunting, one that very much looked like Alien, or at least the Aliens films. At one point, Mark does mention that he met the Loch Ness Monster because it ate Frankenstein's diary. He also apparently went to Haiti as he picked up the Voodoo Petro coffin. There's that medieval era, Mr. Hyde, Dawn of the Dead, or at least the Mall zombies, Jack the Ripper, Nosferatu, Godzilla, and as they come out of the last portal, there is a robot, so apparently someplace futuristic, I'm guessing. Here are some other things you may not have noticed. In the storage room, there is actually a key, and in front of the key is a little label that says the Bates Motel key. Also, Mark at one point finds a bloody hockey mask, which is of course a reference to Jason Voorhees. And the movie that Sarah's stepfather is watching on the TV is called Lobster Man from Mars. Now, you can't talk about Waxwork 2 without also mentioning the extremely random rap music video that occurs during the end credits. This was done by a rap group called LA Posse, and they literally made a song for the movie called Lost in Time that was all about the story. So when it comes to the film Waxwork II: Lost in Time, this is not a very good movie. It's a little entertaining though. I recommend everyone at least checking it out once, especially if you have seen the first movie. So I think I'm going to have to give this one a 2 out of 5. And now for the trivia question from the beginning of this episode. What famous actress makes a small cameo in this film just because she was visiting the set that day? So I was completely shocked to realize that this actress appeared in this film. So over the years, I've seen this movie at least a few different times, mainly because I'm a glutton for punishment. But I never noticed that in the Nosferatu scene, one of the two girls that's in the bed is in fact Drew Barrymore. She ended up being in the scene as she was good friends with Anthony Hickox, the director, and was visiting the set that day, and he offered to just throw her in as a cameo. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Askewed Reviews, and if there's a movie you'd like to see get a review, just mention it in the comments.